Jesus.
What did you think about the assassination?
Dude, I almost had that game beat. Yeah, so everybody but the media says the shooter had help. But that's not true. Now, I know this will sound absolutely insane and like I'm off my rocker, but the assassination attempt was not an inside job. Let me get my files. Now just hear me out. I'll prove it. Let's just establish right off the bat, the shooter acted alone. But all the conspiratorial people are saying things like, well, what's a 20-year-old doing with multiple encrypted messaging accounts? Well, you have to realize the media has been telling us he's a loner. So it sounds to me like he was using encrypted messaging accounts so no one could find out that he didn't have anyone to message, because he was embarrassed by how lonely he was. Okay, now this is just a complete misunderstanding. Crooks, who didn't know how to make explosives, had homemade explosives in his truck and a detonator with him on the roof. At first glance, it does sound a little suspicious, but it's easy to explain. The shooting happened on July 13th, so the explosives were probably just left over from the 4th of July. Oh, bomb-level explosives? Well, yeah. He probably just really wanted to celebrate the 4th of July. He's probably just a really patriotic guy. Who forgot to set them off on the 4th and then tried to kill the president? Well, like, who doesn't have explosives? I've got explosives in my truck right now. Now, I've seen reports of a lot of conspiratorial nut jobs who say, oh, well, Crooks didn't act alone. And they'll cite things like the Heritage Foundation that released cell phone data of a mysterious person who made frequent trips to Crooks' home from a building in DC near the FBI office. Frequent trips? That sounds suspicious. Not when you do the math. The most obvious explanation is there's probably an Amazon shipping warehouse in DC, and this so-called mysterious person was probably just an Amazon delivery driver taking DVD box sets of Friends to Crooks' home in Pennsylvania.
Oh man,
I love how he highlights the lengths people will go to dismiss and discredit any possibility
yeah,
that he didn't act alone.
yeah.
Like, these are all things that have added up over time that you've seen in Crooks' history, where cell phone data shows that he was less than a block away from the FBI building.
Yeah.
Which is a perfect place to meet up if they're trying to plan something.
Yeah.
You know, or give him instructions or, you know, things of that nature.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying that they did, but if they were to do something like that, it's awful convenient that his cell phone was just that close to their building.
Yeah, there's just so much to work with here. Also, do you notice how much the media is trying to get us to forget about what just happened here?
Oh yeah,
yeah. It's
I mean,
almost like
they want us to all memory hole it.
Yeah, memory hole. It became a taboo subject. It's like very little is said about it anymore. Because today we got to talk about Kamala Harris. I mean, she's black, right? We got to talk about her. She's the next big thing. You know?
But I thought she was Indian.
Well, it depends who you ask, you know.
And I'm not talking about the woo-woo Indian. I'm talking about red dot Indian.
Yeah, but
sorry,
you know,
I'm too old to be culturally sensitive.
Talk more about.
You know what they say. You know, it's called the one drop rule, right? The one drop rule is that if she has
one drop of blood.
Yeah, she's officially black, but that doesn't apply for any other race. So
but my concern is don't most blacks distinguish Jamaicans separate and apart from Africans?
That is true. Yeah, for example, I am not black enough for Black Americans, even
Haitians.
Haiti, even though I'm from Haiti. Both of my parents were Africans, original Africans. I got some long history of French in me as well, but I'm really a black man if you take a good look. But for Black Americans, I was told I wasn't black unless I was born here. So I can't have an opinion about that. But she's black enough just because she has one drop of Jamaican black blood in her from her father.
Not to
I would
mention the
find it
fact that,
inconsistent.
correct me if I'm wrong, but if you go back in her lineage, weren't her grandparents slave owners?
Yeah, yeah. That's a good point.
So,
Anyway, we're gonna be talking about Kamala Harris a little bit later.
just food for thought to chew on while we continue
Heads up.
on here.
Heads up, heads up. All right, let's go on.
Home in Pennsylvania. Probably liked to watch Friends because he didn't have any. Think about that. And if the FBI can get into Crooks's phone, I'm sure they'll find he was a Prime member. But for now, the FBI says they can't get into his phone. But I'm sure they're working hard on it. Oh, talking about the FBI, we better turn our phones off. They're most likely in our phones right now listening to us, and I don't want them to think I'm talking negatively about them. I love you guys. Now, the day of the event, there were a lot of security anomalies, but they're all very easy to explain away. You know, like, for example, people are putting way too much weight into this, that the Secret Service had been watching Crooks long enough before the shooting that they had pictures of him and they were circulating the pictures. Why'd they have pictures of him if they didn't think he was a threat? And if they thought he was a threat, why didn't they neutralize him? Nut jobs. By my estimates, the Secret Service probably thought he was a severely autistic boy, and they were impressed that he knew how to use a rangefinder. I would take a picture of that. You know, like if you see a cat playing blackjack, you're gonna take a picture of it. Oh yeah, and then there's all kinds of people saying, well, police were inside the building that Crooks was on the roof of when he took the shots. How'd they let that happen? The answer is so obvious. The police were inside. Crooks was on the roof. They couldn't see or hear him. Wait a minute. What's that sound? Hold on, I'll be right back. Oh, we're good. It was nothing. It was just a squirrel on the roof.
If you could hear the squirrel on the roof, I wonder if they could have heard the man walking on the roof, right?
I'm telling you, and not to mention the fact that was a tin roof. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Tin roofs have almost zero insulation. Y'all, I live in a trailer. Okay. I have insulation. I have a well-insulated trailer. Not to mention the fact that my roof has extra layers on it. I had a tree branch fall on my roof during a winter storm that legitimately cracked the inside of my ceiling. And I still haven't had a leak from it. That's how good of a roofing job I've had done on my trailer. Squirrels will jump from my tree next to my house, run across the roof of my house, and it sounds like a freaking herd of elephants running across the roof of my house.
Interesting. So I wonder how much more
louder it is on a tin roof.
Yeah, imagine a man is walking on top of that roof back and forth, and he did. We had videos
and
of
it
him
wasn't
going
just him walking; he was legitimately running across that roof.
But nobody knows why, for some reason, right? We still don't know why.
We don't know why, we don't know why everybody just let him.
We can't figure out. We don't know why a squirrel can be on the roof, and we can't figure that out. But a person on the roof.
The sniper team that was in the window only took pictures and texted to everybody. And why the local PD and all the other people were all on different frequencies. And I actually saw something that was, to me, even more disturbing. I actually have a clip that I can send you that is actually even more disturbing, that I think than what actually happened in the aftermath that everybody kind of overlooked in the hubbub.
Okay. That's just crazy. Yeah, you can certainly.
I'll let me pull it up.
These things are so loud with their little tiny feet scampering. Oh yeah, and then the conspiracy theorists raise this issue like, well, there were so many witnesses that saw Crooks on the roof crawling with a rifle and they alerted authorities. What happened there? Well, nobody likes a tattletale. And like the boy who cried wolf, you can't believe everything people tell you. But believe me when I say this, Crooks acted alone. And then people say things like, well, why wasn't Secret Service on the roof? They must have been ordered to stand down. No, what those people just aren't hearing is now former Secret Service Director Kim Cheadle came out and said the roof was too sloped. It was too dangerous. Case in point, Crooks went on that roof and he died on that roof. That sounds like a dangerous roof to me. Now hear me on this issue, because a lot of people are taking this bait into thinking it was an inside job. Because Senator Josh Hawley has said he had a whistleblower come forward, which informed him that most of Trump's security that day weren't even Secret Service. They were inexperienced personnel assigned by DHS. But why would Trump be getting his security from a delivery company?
You're thinking about DHL.
DHS. Oh, I don't know about that. Like, what are you going to believe? A whistleblower? They're usually so mentally unstable that they often take their own lives. Just look at all the Boeing whistleblowers. They're not reliable, stable people. Yeah, and then people are raising the issue that Trump's team had routinely asked the DHS for more security personnel and they were denied. Well, that's probably because Trump got confused like me and he was asking DHL. They don't even have security, apparently. Well, I'll tell you this, people are driving me crazy with all this talk about there being a second shooter. Oh yeah, there was a second shooter on the water tower. Look at this mysterious dark figure. First of all, it's not a dark figure. It's a figure of color. Get with the times, bigots. Second, do you know how unlikely it is that there would be a second shooter? It would be completely unprecedented. Once the official investigations conclude, there are never second shooters, always a lone gunman. It's just how they do it. Yeah, like just think about the JFK assassination. Allen Dulles was the head of the CIA until JFK fired him because he was corrupt and couldn't be trusted. But once JFK was assassinated, Dulles was assigned to the Warren Commission to get to the bottom of the assassination. Oh, was it the CIA? No, psycho. The former head of the CIA that JFK fired concluded it was a lone gunman. It is pretty much the same here with Trump. You have to understand that the FBI, CIA, and Secret Service are investigating the assassination attempt, and if there was any inside involvement of the FBI, CIA, or Secret Service, they would have found it by now.
Yeah, of course they would.
Yeah, sure.
You want the finger pointing at them.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
and the one I'm surprised he hasn't touched on is the fact that local law enforcement, National Guard, and the Secret Service were all on different radio frequencies. They all had different radio frequencies, so none of them were on the same radio channel. The only thing
somebody
they had
that set up from the start so that the communication could not go through.
Yeah, the only thing they had in common was a group text chat.
Wow, that makes sense. Yeah, just saying. Oh man,
just spitball in here.
Yeah. Just a thought. All right, let's let him finish.
Conclusion. It was a lone gunman and the assassination attempt. And for that to be conclusive, that would imply that there was only one person on Earth that wants Trump dead. And guess what? That was Crooks. The one person on Earth that wanted Trump dead is dead. Nobody else would have had any motive. So, case closed, not an inside job.
Yeah.
Except for everybody who came afterward and said, everything that they said about it.
Yeah, it sounds like everything that could have gone wrong went wrong, right? Similar to what happened to Mr. Epstein. It's just the cameras weren't working, man, and the security guards weren't paying attention, and he so happened to have something there that he could hang himself. Like, it's just everything that needed to be there for him to die that day.
There's only so many coincidences before it's no longer a coincidence.
Yeah, it's like more powerful than evolution, right? It's supposed to be had evolution, and then here comes life, and here comes order, and here comes science. It's like, how is
that possible?
How is a Big Bang results in perfect order?
Exactly.
Anyway, it's just
how do you get perfect order from chaos?
Yeah, it's like who put the chaos there in the first place?
Mhm.
Yeah. So now, be quiet. Let's move on. The media moved on. Now they're talking about Kamala Harris. So everybody gonna talk about Kamala Harris. So let's talk about Kamala Harris because that's what they wanted to talk about, right? So I mean, you have a thought on that, and if you were to ask me, with all jokes aside, somebody's behind the scene working things out, and obviously they wanted him gone, and by the grace of God, it didn't work out as planned. But I don't think that's the end.
I don't think they
Um,
wanted him gone. Honestly, I think they wanted Joe Biden still there because he was easily to control and to manipulate.
yeah, yeah.
The
What I'm
only
talking about,
thing
like I'm talking about Trump,
is
for example.
he was overly exposed when he did the debate with Trump.
Yeah.
And with that, they had to bail on that plan, and they were left with stuck with her holding the bag. So they
Uh,
really didn't have any other option.
yeah, yeah. Wow.
That's my theory.
Yeah, I mean, you're not that far from the truth either. I like this. You can tell me if this is true. This was on X. It's Brittany Trump, Britannia Trump. It
Mm-hmm.
says all stood to Democrats, and what do they all have in common?
They all got shot.
And just saying, I don't
And the
I don't
thing
know too
is,
many. I don't know too many.
Kennedy was even a Democrat himself.
Yeah, I don't know too many Democrats president who were shot. Do you know any?
Kennedy.
Kennedy was, yeah, he was a Democrat himself, but he stood against, what was going on with
yeah.
that, with the war and all that. So,
Well, not just the war, but you also realize Kennedy was actually trying to get rid of the IRS and the bank system as we know it. He wanted to go back to the way things were with tariffs and things like that as far as earning an income.
Yeah.
And
So Lisa's asking, who is this guy? This is JP. Is Awaken with JP YouTube channel. If you don't know who JP is, he's gonna make you laugh. He has a way of telling the story in a very sarcastic
JP
way.
is great. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
He'll make you laugh all day.
While telling you the truth at the same time.